Hello and welcome to The Daily Lawyer. I'm Jenna Krishnan. I'm the host of The Daily Lawyer podcast. And today we are going to speak about all things litigation. We are going to speak about counsel practice, mediation, what it means to be a counsel, and all the allied roles you can play as a counsel. Today I have my good friend Dhruti Kapadia. She's a counsel. Her bio is super inspiring because she's a first generation lawyer. She's been a lawyer for 13 years now. She's an advocate on record with the Supreme Court. She's a counsel in the Bombay High Court. She's a trained mediator. She's an arbitrator. She's a cyber law expert. She runs an NGO in the middle of all of this. She's an arguing counsel. She does corporate training. She's also an empaneled advocate with the State Legal Aid Association, with the Bombay High Court, and also with the BMC and with MTNL also. I really don't know, Dhruti, how you manage to fit all of these roles in one career lifetime. So I want to start with you being a first generation lawyer, which for those who don't know, it means that there is no other lawyer in your family other than you, at least in your immediate circle. So can you tell us from the time that why did you get into law, and then tell us how the journey was to, into litigation and into what you're doing today?
Jenna, firstly, I must congratulate you for the wonderful that you have started podcasting. It's a brilliant idea. It's not only going to benefit our legal fraternity, but many litigants, audience who want to know law and who want to benefit out of it. I congratulate you and a big applause for you for that. Because you're in litigation and you know what it is like. So now I'll come to your questions and then I'll answer that. Law is a very fascinating subject. So since I was in ICSE school, studied in Queen Mary, and I did a lot of literature reading, we had a lot of those pot-belly, suspender-based English lawyers, read-ups. So I did think this was one thing that is a very noble profession. Not only this, you want to fight for the right. Then how do you actually do? You have to have the qualifications, the status for it. I mean, you just start fighting on the street or you start fighting amongst your friends. It doesn't give you a purpose of achievement. Achievement would be when you take up a cause or you do something for the society. And I always felt like I should do something big for the underprivileged people. Why are these children begging on the street? Why can't they go to school? As a child, I would be asking my dad this. He's from a business background. We studied law. So I thought if I am going to be a lawyer, somewhere institutionally, I will help this, system to change, to uplift these people, which obviously many, many people did work, hardcore to get them up. But then as I struggled and I said, no, I must do it. I had my very close mentor, very best friend who just, passed away in last fortnight. He was my, a close buddy to push me that, no, you do it. You can do it. Whenever people said, you can't do it. Come on. You're a very mischievous person. You can't get into all this hardcore academic things. I said, no, I must take it as a challenge. So that's where I must tell you, even an interesting thing, post 12th, we did 5-year law course, right? I did not get admission in government law college, but another neighbor friend of mine who was basically a communicative friend of mine, he says he gets in GLC without even filling the form. I don't believe that, but he got in even without, really doing much of it through whatever references. So I felt very disheartened. I said, listen, I want to go in a government law college, the best college in Mumbai, only for some point percentage I'm not getting in. So I did speak to the principal and absolutely I told her, ma'am, can you help me to get this? She's like, it's not possible. Then I promised her, I'll come next year. And I took admission in SVKM all the way from South Bombay going till, Vile Parla, and a new college of first year opening college. And I said, no, I'll do. I topped those both semesters with highest percentage and I got transferred in GLC. So I think that's how it was the hard startup, but I'm not going to give up. I want to do this. That's where I just started thinking about law. And then when I saw literature, logic, pol science in a 2 years law, I'm like, this is amazing to even, actually learn and, educate ourselves more into it. So it was very, very fascinating from the day one. That's about how I went.
And is this the reason why you wanted to get into litigation? Because you wanted to help? You felt that litigation is one area where you can directly influence somebody's life? Or why didn't you choose a corporate, because nowadays, at least most young graduates, they all want to do corporate. Nobody wants to get into lit. Everybody wants to do all the fancy things, First it was SEBI and securities law. Now it is all cyber and all that rubbish. Nobody wants to do lit. So why did you choose this it's not the most glamorous part of law. It's the most well-known, but it's not the most glamorous part of law.
I would just say one thing. If I got the opportunity to sit in the court 24/7, I would just sit and observe different kind of people. It's studying the psychology of people. So this is something I always enjoyed. I'm like, litigation is like you draft something on a desk job. As a solicitor, you do that. As an article clerk, why can't I argue when I have done this drafting? And why can't I be the voice of this person who's litigant here and address to the court? So I always thought that somewhere I want to be their voice. And I want to go to the court and convince the court that, look, this is actually a genuine problem with proper case studies, with proper, sections, laws, amendments, and a lot of struggle is there. Litigation is a lot of waste of time. It frustrates me even today sometimes. Why is my matter not reaching? But then I do feel that why I took that, because when I did my articleship with Harish Mehta and company, he was into labor litigation. I got this opportunity to attend High Court, where I saw different benches, but I could not appear that time. I was like, I want to go and argue it. Even as a student, I wanted to go and argue. So I was like, this is not the way this person is arguing. This is the way it could be it. So I had that zeal and zest of litigation. And then when I would use my strategy as a junior article clerk, or I would discuss with some senior counsels, I would be like, oh my God, how well they are prepared. What I'm talking is just like so minor, this is so much more into it. So more and more years I put in, I felt I don't want to do a solicitor job in a law firm, get some package. I want to just struggle out to be the voice of the people. And that's where litigation is today. If you want to be the voice of the people, get some policies set up, or get some, just fair and, just idea about, what could it be? Because so many disputes are coming forward. Like, how do you help them? Sometimes you feel you can't do anything about it because people's ego is so high. So even if you litigate, it's pointless sometimes, I feel. There's no point of just fighting. It's better to close. So when I went in litigation, I did think that somewhere this should stop. It's enough. But that full stop point, sometimes parties don't want it. And sometimes lawyers don't want it to happen. So I felt this is a whole circle where we have to balance the two and see which stakeholder will benefit the max in what short time. That's what we are trying to even do today.
Dhruti, for someone who doesn't know anything about the law or the possible careers in the law, they probably won't know what a counsel is and what a solicitor is. So just kind of talk to us about what is it that a counsel does. And you already explained the reason why you wanted to be a counsel. And I think it's beautiful. I mean, it shows a great level of passion, which is very rare. Having been in the industry, I can tell you that it's very rare what you're showing. And to be a good counsel, there's no other. You definitely need this level of passion. But for somebody who doesn't know, and what is it that you would say is a counsel? Like, what is counsel practice? And who do you think, if you're in case you're talking to young graduates or law students, or even people from allied professions who are thinking of doing the law, what would you think? Whom would you advise to become counsels? What kind of skill sets do you think is required?
Okay, this is a very interesting question, because the advocacy, everybody understands. Advocacy means we take up a matter, we argue, we even draft. It's a whole package deal. Sometimes some advocates or some solicitors feel that, look, the expertise of putting the case before the judge would be on a specialized person who is well read, who's well researched and well recognized, with a goodwill, with a good face value, a good strength of understanding what would be between this complicated law. So that's where the specialization comes of being into a counsel practice. It would be like, okay, I as a counsel would not file wakalatnama. Means I am not the one I will deal with the clients. I'll directly be dealing with the attorneys who will be briefing me. And I'll be dealing with the judge by presenting the case of the attorney's clients. So this is something we usually in Bombay do in original sides and all. We don't generally, file wakalatnama. But there are people who even file that.
Yeah,
so
you may want to tell this original side issue, because that is a very technical term to it. So basically, original side, just tell them.
I quite see. So what original side would be from people from Bombay who practice here originally, and there are the other segments of the bar where even people practice and they come from different regions of Maharashtra, but they're doing. So I'm not showing any discrimination between the two. All are advocates, all are counsels, but each one has their own different chamber, practice. So we can't have like A doing B only and C doing D only. It could be a mixed bag of each senior, how they want to do it. All I'm saying is, if you want to be a specialized counsel, because see, you want to be specialized in law. Like some people who are extremely known for criminal law and some are extremely known for constitutional law. Why? Because they have done all these complicated matters in that specialized field of branch. This is just an example which I'm putting forward. So we would say, okay, fine, so constitution, this particular matter, give the brief to this particular counsel. Because at least this counsel as a specialized person would be able to put immediately to the court. This is what it is. I'm not saying advocates cannot. Even advocates argue, they can also get. But the difference is counsels get per appearance fees, like per date wise, they get effective, non-effective hearings fees, whereas advocates may take the whole package of the matter. It depends person to person how they actually want to do it. Some advocates would also say, I'll also charge per appearances. So it's like being a counsel means I want to go and argue before the court. I don't want to deal much with the client. I want to deal directly with the lawyers. It's more comfortable for me. And whatever I want ready, I don't file, wakalat number, but I do my drafting. I settle drafts. There are complicated issues. Advocate will say, this is the draft. Can you settle? Have you missed out some points? So we, as counsels, junior counsels to senior counsels, this is day in and out work that we do. Senior counsels is much different than what junior counsels do, but that's not the topic that we should even, divert today, because those are after recognition of long years of practice, people get it. So I would say being a solicitor would be, you do non-lit work, you draft, you do desk job, you run after clients, getting, your bills cleared. Counsels are like, okay, I've given my bill to this particular advocate. It is his duty now to clear and give it to me from his clients. So it's even easier that way.
And what do you think are the skill sets that you need as a counsel? Because honestly, the skill sets are very different for a advocate or a solicitor who is not doing active counsel practice or who's not actively representing clients in court, whereas for counsel. So what do you think, some young lawyers or students, if they're looking at counsel practice, should develop? So just to add to the question, what do you think they should do even in law school? Like, they should do a lot of notes, that kind of thing.
Basically, if you really want to face the court, you must be thoroughly well updated with law. That means you need to have your latest case laws well read. And what is the law? What is the citations? It should be ready in your notebook diary. What I used to do, I used to keep a hard copy diary. So any case I would study, topic wise, I would note citations and what it was held. And if I would find anything more upholding or any overruled things, I would try to then go back to my notes and see, okay, what had happened here in this case and how is it? So the law updation is very important. From the day one of your law school, you should encourage yourself in reading Supreme SCC online, SCC hard copy books, Maharashtra law journals, Bombay case studies. You should keep reading the case laws. Bar and Bench and Live Laws are those portals also which they give you updates of, a couple of, e-format of mediation, I would say. But I would still go back to commentaries. I'm still the old school thought when it comes to finding the actual citations and all, because that's where I feel as a counsel that, look, I have not missed out some points. Like, not that the judgment would differ with it, but then it's like, I want to study under what head this law was held. Now, where do I get more of it? What was the English case law, if at all it was originally decided that way? I like to go to the roots of it. So a lot of time investment is there in reading to be a counsel. It's not only your briefs, your notes. Your notes have to be crystal clear, because it has to be brief, which you can read in a blink of an eye and you know where, what page number, what order is what was held. So unless you prepare your brief neatly, a well computerized type, and nowadays people use even iPads and the technologies to put their notes around, you won't be able to immediately read and tell the page numbers, and you'll be fumbling around to find where what order was, where what case study was, what was held by the X person and what was held by the Y person, unless you have your notes ready. So thorough reading of the brief is important. And it's smart reading, I would say. So every bits and pieces of the documents, you may have to read sometimes on volumes of it. But what is very important should be handy with you in your brief. So if the court will ask, it should be immediate copy ready, my lords, take it. So many times, even what you want to tell to the court, you are unable to say because you get messed up finding out where what is. So organizing yourself is very important. As a lawyer, as a counsel, as a law student, you have to start organizing yourself, maintain up-to-date data of the law. Thirdly, have confidence in advising people. If you don't know something, stop. Say, I will come back. I will refer it. I will do my homework and come back. Do not mislead. Do not give wrong information to your clients or either to the judge. It gives a very wrong impact on your identity, on the quality of a good arguing counselor, advocate, or anything. Many times we randomly say, "Arey, aise hi hoga." Let's just tell this to the court. But if it is not, read your documents. Then what a boomerang you will. So you have to be well prepared. A good read up is also very important key point for everybody. Unless you read, you have to throw your laziness. You have to read thoroughly. You have to have your different color pens ready with you to mark, so you know where what is. So that makes you colorful from your black and white uniform on a lighter way.
Yeah.
But you have to have
I am thinking of, those sling bags that we used to carry with those 4-color pens and those highlighters and those flags and those revenue stamps and court stamps and all that rubbish. I think all of us had those little sling bags that we used to roam around with.
Even in the moot courts, they have to do these decorations when they want to win the trophy. So it's all starting from the law school.
Yeah,
you have to participate.
Yeah. I just had some student asking me about or talking. They were, because nowadays I'm finding that the law students are so much more aware and so much more like motivated than what we were. We were like, chilling at Satkar and all of that. But anyway.
They teach us much more than what we learn in the courts.
Yeah.
They are not motivated. I would be honest and modest about it.
Yeah.
I know. I think. Right.
And they're really like very driven, yeah. They're like doing cyber law courses in first year. I mean, in first year, we were just chilling. So I'm really impressed, I must say, with many of them.
Enthusiasm is increasing.
Yeah.
Say it loud.
Yeah. So, Dhruti, one of the reasons why we are doing this Careers in Law is because I want to genuinely show the world or whoever is listening about the more realistic picture of the legal industry and the various, literally the various careers that we have in the law, because most people have this Bollywood stereotype of the law. And either it's the Bollywood stereotype or it is, acha, you like to talk, you should be a lawyer. You like to argue, you should be a lawyer. All these cliches that we are saddled with. So one of the things when we speak about litigation, I mean, it's a very wide open field. And luckily for me, for today, you have done a great deal in this field. So can you talk a little bit about the AOR process? Like, you are an AOR with the Supreme Court, and why did you decide to be an AOR? What does it mean for people who don't know? And what is the advantage of it?
See, basically for us, when we are solicitors, we have the advantage to get a, immediate entry free of the AOR after our 7 years is over, and we show that we're practicing in Delhi. There are many people who are not solicitors and they are still an AOR. So 1 year training in Delhi is important. Because if you are an advocate on record in Supreme Court, that's the only status that allows you to file wakalatnama in Supreme Court. Or you can go and argue as an arguing counsel, but you cannot file. You cannot have your own case registered, because that's what only Supreme Court would define that, you want to file in Supreme Court, are you advocate on record? Do you have your number registered as an advocate on record? It's a very tough exam where rigorous studies are required for a lot of people. And I think only hundreds would pass, like how we pass in solicitors, only very few out of 200 or 300 people who sit for it throughout the India. So that's the competitive examination, and for which a lot of people take great study leaves, breaks in their careers to pass these exams. And once you pass it, then you have your system set out of saying, I'm an advocate on record, Supreme Court of India. Now come to me, clients, I come file for you. It's like this. Like you and me, if we are not AORs, we cannot go in Supreme Court and file on our names, wakalatnama, as I would say. It would be like, I can go and argue in the court as a counsel, but I cannot be doing the procedural AOR system work. Like, that's what it is.
And you are also a trained mediator. So can you talk to, first of all, can you tell everyone what is mediation? Because you've gone the gamut. You do dispute resolution through litigation, you do dispute resolution through arbitration, and you do dispute resolution of mediation. But what is mediation, and what is your experience also? Why did you choose to take this certification?
I really feel mediation is the best option. Supposingly, if the client directly comes to me, like particularly in cases of matrimonial matters or blood relation matters of property disputes, I would just ask them, is there a way you want to settle the matter? Why you want me to fight for this? If there is a serious problem, I see there's no way out, that we can't settle the matter, or we can't have an attempt to settle the matter. Basically, I would start with attempt. Can we do it? A proposal. Can we think of doing it? First, you have to convince the client, look, think about it. It's worth settling. So there are two ways of mediating. One is a private mediation and one is a court annex mediation. So sometimes when we are arguing matters, court would only sometimes say, why don't you all try to settle the matter between you all? You're brothers, for example. So I was like, I would love to, instead of just arguing and extending the whole dispute to a different level, why not take a chance? It's not necessary that the other party may also agree, but it's a worth trial thing. If they agree, like many matrimonial disputes which I have in my experience settled out is through mediation process. This happens through court where appointed panel mediators are there, or even we as advocates play an important role in trying to resolve by filing consent terms, etc. Why I chose to be a trained mediator? Because I think mediation deals with a lot of emotions, apologies, lot of forgiving attitudes. So unless you see it in yourself, because we are addressing ourselves in litigation, if you see it in yourself, to mold yourself to be like, okay, how can you do this? How can you not do this? Balancing the gives and no gives, that's where I felt I should be a trained mediator, because I was invited many times in many colleges to train students for mediation courses or mediation competitions. I said, I am already feeling I'm a mediator. What I have is no certificate. Might as well take it. And I would advise people should take it, because then you get opportunities to be on panel. You get opportunities to flaunt out and say, look, I'm experienced mediator to help you resolve the dispute. Otherwise, you go and tell some client, oh, look, I want to solve your dispute. Say, why you won't fight in the court? What are you going to mediate for us? So it helps you in that way. So it's additional 40 hours cost. Just take it up, do it, enjoy it.
Yeah, so I think it's a good sort of supplement to a dispute resolution lawyer's general repertoire.
It's a feather. Yeah. And nowadays, a lot of people, particularly, let me share this because all of us will agree to what I'm saying here. In COVID period, when courts were not functioning, many people were like, let's go.
Yeah, I settled 4 matters which were pending since 2013. In fact, it was just gone because we were tired of mera next janam tak mera date nahi aata tha.
So, correct. So this is how I'm saying, in COVID, technology, mediation, ODR, which is online also, that's, online dispute resolution forums, lot of cases many people have solved. It's not only about me today. It's about how the whole dispute resolution framework has changed because of the technology. And in COVID times, people wanted to sober down and not really fight. But I have also seen many divorce cases increasing in the COVID time, many property disputes, because people had nothing to do.
Yeah.
Wanted to just, do, but courts were not functioning. Advantage of courts not being functioning, we saw mediation picking up.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
But I think it's both good and bad. Like you said, you have highlighted both the good and bad part of this, in the sense that, mediation picked up. So people are more willing to settle and less willing to fight. Dhruti, part of the reason why I started Daily Law, it stems from my own experience as a litigant. And also as a legal counsel, I found not, everyday issues like when I used to vet contracts and stuff. And it was so difficult for me to convince my sales team or my operations team that, they used to think that I'm just waiting. I don't get it, when I'm trying to say, no, this is risky, you cannot do this. Like we cannot sign until I have the, for example, I was in a management consulting company, and it was like, no, I have to have the NDA, like we have to have a confidentiality agreement, or I need to know what my IP rights are, whether it's protected. And so, small things which are like big things if it is not addressed. And people would not know. People don't know the importance of things like that. They only look at us as, people who are taking time and elongating a deal and things like that. So one of the reasons why I started TDL, and this is a question I want to ask everybody who comes on the podcast, is, in your experience, and you are very well experienced, what do you think are the mistakes that people are making in everyday life that can be more easily resolved? And what do you think are the tips or the solutions to this?
3 important things I would like to share. it's not only about litigation, non-litigation, or anything. If you want to do legal profession, you want to succeed, I would just say 3 important things. Don't be arrogant. Save your dignity. Stand for the right. And you are the officer of the court if you're in court. So your client comes second. What people tend to do many times with a lot of arrogance, and they think, oh, we are not of zeal and zest. They tend to be very brash, due to which they may lose their clients, or they may lose their good argumentative skills in the court. So the court crafting affects. So I would say do not be arrogant, do not be impatient, do not rush. Have patience. Sometimes you may feel things are not going the way you want, or maybe the client is very irritating you. You can't be arrogant. You have to be patient. You have to be polite. You have to be humble. Even if you succeed, you cannot climb the 7th cloud. You have to be on the ground. Which many people, they start, changing their own personalities as they grow in the profession. They try to be like, now I want only money. I don't want pro bono work. So with age, people tend to just be more materialistic, I would say. And I think these mistakes happen. Mistake as far as what I have made, sometimes I have realized in litigation that I end up like, you're not doing this and this. Interject. You should not. Let one party finish. Then you should talk. So many lawyers do the same mistakes. We start interjecting in between. So court decorum is shaken up. We should avoid. Second important thing I would say, there is never full stop of, educating yourself. Keep educating yourself. Like if you think you're bored of law for a moment, you may take some management studies. It will help you even in your, setup in your office or in your professional relationship. So people tend to be like, okay, I'm done with my studies. It's enough for me. I don't want to do anything further. So that's a mistake. Mistake which I had made was like, I did not do my PhD. Still, I wanted to do because it's a research area. And now when I don't have time in hand, I would say, oh God, now how do I do all big of it? Or if you want to go abroad for LLM, do it immediately after your law. Because a lot of times, even if you want to go abroad and do, even you have studied, in that plateau, do it when you are young, because as you get more time involvement in your professional, you don't get to do what you want to do as a student. You will still be a student of law. But then the hardcore courses, that college and university networking, you will end up missing. So do not make those mistakes. And third important thing, I would say, let go. Don't run after fees. Fees will come to you. Run after the work you are getting, which is honestly due to you. Do not try to solicit somebody else's work, which many people try to do many times. Because it's a cutthroat competition, to be honest. One has to be satisfied of what they get. You can't be in a rat race. Because if you do that, then success is very short for you. It's not high.
And these are mistakes that lawyers make, and you've actually given very good pointers. Clearly, you've had a lot of experience, which is why you're able to speak so clearly on this topic. But now I want to ask you about mistakes that common people make, like everyday lay people make in their dealings that end up, that make them land up in court, and something that can easily be solved. For example, I gave you the example of the non-disclosure. And it was a fight. I had been in that position for 9 years. I'm telling you, the first 4 years of my legal counsel career went only in fighting, and people telling me that, yaar, ye Jana ke paas jata hai, to bas, you know how it was. To change that perception took really long. So something like that, things which are everyday things, which people just don't know, and it can be anything. It can even be in your matrimonial disputes or whatever in your experience.
I'll give you a very generalized thing. We should understand who we are. We are human beings. We land up not being tolerant. उसने मेरे साथ ऐसा किया, अभी उसको सबक सिखाने का. Revenge, non-tolerance, revenge, jealousy. You can't see somebody's success. So these are the common people who come to, because we are all people. These qualities are there with us. Whether you say yes or you say no, it is there. But the extreme levels which comes, and there's no compromise things, or there is no care for each other, you don't value or respect the other person, there will be the court case. Sometimes negotiations fail, commitments break. That's where people can't tolerate. So layman or any human beings, keep your commitments. Do not break your commitments, because if you do that, even with your man and a woman, the marriage will suffer. If you do it with your father in your property relations with your siblings will suffer. So it's like, what is due to you is due to you. Don't try to be more greedy towards things. And what is in your box, nobody else can take it. If they have taken it, you have to definitely fight. But if you think little is gone and little you have, don't invest your years in litigation, because it goes for generations, particularly in suits. Writs may be faster, but suits never end. It goes for years and years and years. So you have to be smart. Okay, what is the fast solution? What is quick buck for me? And how can I maintain my relations also together? But some people don't want to keep it. They're like, we don't care. This has happened wrong to us. We want it right. Otherwise, we want nothing but just the right. Then that's where we lawyers on. And we should then, after we explain them. So these are the mistakes. Try to be tolerant. Give it some time. Sometimes when one person is too angry, keep a chill pill with you. Don't try to react in the same way, because then the vessels will make heavier noise. It's like that.
And what do you think of having things written down or agreed? Maybe if you're in a more corporate setting, or you're a startup and you're trying, or you're just two friends and you decide to start something. How do you think they should go about starting because it's so informal when it starts? So you think it makes sense for them to at least have anything written down, and then sort of, because often disputes happen because of that, right? Once we start growing.
I know this question nobody has ever asked me, but I'll answer this. Because two best friends coming together to start up something, all goes good if everybody is settled well. What if something breaks out? Written contract is a must. When you are in a professional world, you are for a professional purpose. You want to start something and create something. It should have a base foundation, that's contract. Because without that, orally, verbally, that trust, in diamond industry where my dad is from, they do general trust business, oral business. They don't write contracts. But many times people don't land up paying you. Then you be in a suit, you lose your money. There's no evidence you have entered into this particular thing. So keep things crystal clear. That will save your relations. It will save your good bonding. And if you have to exit, you can exit nicely. If it's written in a way. It can't be like, WhatsApp chat commitments, or it can't be like, pally-bally commitments over the phone when it's commercial purpose. That's where commercial disputes are today. No unknown people generally enter into business. They're known somewhere, or some reference is there. But if imagine there is no contract, there's no agreements between the two, then how are they going to resolve the matter?
That's true. The other thing that I really want to talk to you about, and this is something I really appreciate that you're doing, and you've been doing it for a while, that is the pro bono work that you do. So talk to us a little bit about the pro bono work you do. I know you do a lot of work with women and children, and a lot of these underprivileged sort of, and the NGO that you run. I mean, how you get the time to do all this is beyond me. But how do you do, what is the kind of pro bono work you do? And then you speak about your NGO as well.
Okay. See, the kinds of pro bono work I would do is a smallest thing. If I earn some fees, I would keep my 20-30% of the fees depending on my expenses out for some good work. I don't take donations from anybody. I do it in my own capacity. So I started doing pro bono work by giving free legal aid camps in slum areas, or in associations with our constitutional, constituency MLAs or some corporators, because they are the people where the crowd is clouded out with and can get people coming seeking for help. So this is how I started with my early college days, when I would hardly know law, but I said, okay, I want to do something socially. So we started doing, once I got my qualifications of LLB, I started doing more of it. I even thought we should have more lecture series of the law thing. So I'm like, why under a political banner? Let's have my own NGO where there's no political, bannering or anything of that sort. We are doing it for the cause that we want. So I had another senior leader, a good friend of mine, who said we'll do a joint foundations of it. So we did lecture series on women and child, on eradications of drugs and child abuse. We had invited psychiatrists, 2 senior lawyers. We had a panel of people talking about it. It did give a mass advantage. We did slum donation camps, as in giving them old clothes, old books. Anybody's birthday comes, celebrate. We'll go to Don Bosco's and we'll give those boys, things. Smallest to biggest things. I've celebrated my birthdays generally in donations of those things by giving them fruits. That's how my culture, my family is like. So with that, apart from that, sanitization was a big problem. So I used to go to areas where my constituency, Mumbai area, so there were women problems were there of sanitization. They did not have civic sense of how to actually keep. So we would go and talk in the local words and all these things, where a lot of people would not dare to step in. I've gone in those areas. That's where I would like to say. I would like, no, come with me. We'll go and discuss with them. We will see what their health is like. Let's do some various things. So I said, there are a lot of problems. We see many young people, they're not behaving properly. They're not psychologically fit. Why? Because there's something wrong. There is this drugs issues which is going all across Bombay. We don't know whether they take or they don't take, but parents should be aware of what their child is doing. So we took up those, small NGO related things. When I started my NGO in 2015 or something, then we started doing these small programs. Thereafter, even for transgenders, where I donated 7 sewing machines in a school, and I thought that's where they should be skilled. So they have their own NGOs in association with my NGOs, and we celebrated Valentine's Day with them, and I said I love you to them because nobody tells them this. I'm like, I get I love you from my friends, everybody, I'll be telling my friends, but who is actually giving them their rights, importance, who they are to know? So the small little thoughts which make you do an event and we get good people supporting us together, it becomes a successful event in a way that you make people smile. That's the success.
How sweet.
And in COVID time, I did take a lot of senior citizens to the centers, and I thought that I'm not in a position to get vaccine. So I held 2 more EIL on my own litigation name for to go vaccination for bedridden people and for people who are advanced age. I would appreciate our judiciary who helped me totally to allow this policy to come in place. And today we had BMCs and state and the center going to their homes and giving them vaccines.
Yeah, actually, I remember that. I remember reading your post on Facebook or LinkedIn, I think. Yeah, and it's fantastic, Dhruti. I mean, the one part of your legal career that you've done as a first generation lawyer, that itself is very inspiring. But I am so happy to hear all the social work that you've done, because that takes a lot of, that's a great degree of selflessness that you need. And you have a lot of time investment that you have to put in. So it's really
like if you like doing it, you will do it. And basically I was attached to institutions to teach also. So I have taught law also to many vernacular students or even people from a good background. So I have always believed in contributing back to the society. That's where I took this profession for. For me, commercial world comes second. Like this is more like a given. It's a noble profession, which I said in the day one of my life when I thought I want to do law. It's noble, yeah. Let's keep it noble.
Yeah, but you are among the very few people who are, having this, not just having the thought, but also walking the walk, they say. And there's just, I think I want to now segue into our final segment. There's so much I can talk to you about all of this, Dhruti, and I think a lot of... You're making you
feel elated. Don't do that.
No. I mean, I'm speaking to you like this after very long, right? We've never really sat down and spoken about our lives and about our careers. So I just know about what you're doing through your Facebook and LinkedIn posts over the years, which is why I know that you've been doing a lot of pro bono work and all of that. But that's why I wanted you on the podcast as one of our first guests. I'm really glad.
I will be helpful to anybody who wants to join the race with me, Jenna. You're doing fantastic. Yeah, managing your kids, your social life, your commitments. I mean, this is awesome. This is a women empowerment.
Thank you. Yeah, we are going to hold each other up and make changes, right? One day at a time, one episode at a time. So we have the last segment of our podcast is basically I call it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I ask you like 5 something, 4 something like that, So, and I think this you can really answer well. So there 5, you do so many things in a day or in a week, month, whatever. So can you give us like 5 productivity tips, or it can be anything. It can even be 5 apps, 5 something that helps you or helped you become a more productive person in your everyday life.
Meet 5 new people. You will learn something from them. Have intellectual conversations with people. The moment you feel you are feeling negative with a person, say, excuse me, I got to have a coffee and run out. You sit with positive people. It will make you better. It will help you grow. You get vibes, go with your vibes, go with your intuition. Because I believe what I feel I want to do. And if I feel I don't want to do, I won't do it. Because I can balance what is right and wrong. So have that head, So to be productive, wise, sometimes you get a bad case in your hand. You feel like, how do I argue this case? But go with something with a positive hope that something might come. Let me try. You can't just throw the brief off and say, I'm not going to get a good order. It's just negative, because we'll end up talking, in our conversations. So I avoid this negative discussions. I'm like, let's see what best we can do and let us leave the rest. The more we think, we get very stressed. And avoid talking more than required. Speak less. Which I even tell myself, I want to improvise. Sometimes I'll end up talking so much that I forget that what was the actual main point. So focus. Productivity, to increase productivity, focus on the main subject, which I even give tips to my own self while telling this to everybody here. So that's very important. We'll end up being very brash. Secondly, if you see somebody needs help, if you can help, don't ignore. Because it's the karma theory that gives you the pleasures of where what you are. If you do good will come back to you. Like if you just ignore the good, and just say, "Abhi, mera kuch lena dena nahi, I don't want to be," then you are not in the field where you will do anything for the people. You have to touch human beings. So you have to be sensitive towards them. That's all. Productivity comes with your hard work, success comes, and honesty. The day you are dishonest, the day you feel you are losing your dignity, you are not you. It's the end of your story. So maintain that, hold it tight.
So one of the key touchstones to your journey has been just your hard work and your commitment to the profession and to your intention towards the profession. And I think that's really good. You keep reminding yourself also about that from what I can see.
I'm not here to impress anybody, but impress my inner peace.
Yeah. That's a really good. That's like a really good tagline to this podcast. I'm now on 4. So 4 books that you'd recommend anyone should read.
I would go for literature. I'm a literature lover. So read good Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. Be a Portia, not a Shylock there. So read kind of good books which will give you energies to understand the good vocabs and good theme in life of what actually it is. Victorian history is good, so I would not go back to those to bore the people here, but read of any biographies of good people, good judges, their work, autobiographies, good politicians if you like politics, read about policies. So there are many such books which come up. Kitabkhana is my second hub, apart from my office and Bombay High Court. I do go there to see new books there. So I cannot surely recommend 4 total books, but I guess a constitutional survival book, you must know it by heart. That is very good commentary. Go for commentaries, don't go for bare action constitution. Then another thing I would say, read some good light books also to keep you happy. I mean, don't just read everything serious. You have to have humor in life. So read some books like, that will give you a good gist of the story and say, okay, fine, I just read something nice, it's something light, that kind of a thing. Specification would differ from people to people. My choice is literature, Charles Dickens, and I will go for it. Shakespeare will be the second one. Survey for constitutional, and for litigations, we have day in and out, high court judgments which come. So that's another compilation of the whole book. Keep reading that.
Yeah, it's a good answer actually, Dhruti. I must say it's a very good answer because you've given themes that will suit people, and then you've told what it is that suits you. Okay, 3 tips for law students or young lawyers.
If you fail in your 80 KTs, if you honestly given, don't feel disheartened. Give it for reval, you may pass, because many people face this in Mumbai University. So keep trying. Your goal is not your scores. Take practical internships. Take good internships with good seniors. Just don't go for the banners of the firm's names and all. Do judicial internship also, I would say. It's very important because I didn't do that, but then I advised my sister to do it. She enjoyed it. So judicial internship is also a good scope. And for law students, it's just not that you can be a lawyer. You can be an IS officer. JMFCs are there. So there is various scope. So, evaluate yourself while you are studying, not just muckles or not just jabbalas or commentaries to pass the exams, but what you want to be after you pass it. Or what is your future goal? So start planning that way from the time you are in the law school, because I did that when I was in the law school and I'm like, I want to be a solicitor. So how do I go about it? So I signed my articles at the right time, and then I became a solicitor at the right time without wasting time. It should not be it's too late in the day then to do. It's never too late, but then you lose your good period to actually get those qualifications and things. Participate with good social activities, moot courts, and also don't underestimate yourself by comparing yourself with others, because each one is unique.
Yeah, I think the last one is really very important. I think we all do. I do it a lot. I'm constantly thinking, oh my goodness, I'm like, where am I? And, So yeah, I know. So you actually just drawing down from your last point, 2 life lessons that you have learned in your life that you want to pass on.
I would say don't have a heartbreak in your life, because sometimes you have a heartbreak. Why did I take this profession? Yeah, I'm not getting satisfactory results. Let your heart beat positively. Try to be in the system. So my life experience is like, oh, why am I not getting the order? Yeah, what the hell? I argued well. Then I consoled myself. Look, you argued well. You did not get the order. It was not meant for it. Maybe you work better for the next case. There is some fault in you. So I'm learning lessons that way. If I'm not getting a good order, I don't blame the judge. I blame myself. I'm not well prepared, or maybe the case was bad, So I have to evaluate myself. That's first lesson. Evaluate yourself. We make mistakes. We are overconfident at times. So we should balance and know where we are going wrong. Okay. And that's why I said, don't have heartbreaks. Don't regret. I mean, it happened. Improvise it.
Yeah.
That's important. If you don't improvise it, then it's your bad luck. Then you don't want to improve. You're just lazy then.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You have to evaluate yourself. And second lesson I would say in life is, when people say you can't do it, show them you can do it, because it will happen if you want it to happen.
Yeah,
if people want you to do it, if people want you to do it and you are not happy about it, don't do it. You don't have to please the world. You have to please your inner conscience and make it like what I want to do for the future. Each day is a bad day. Each day is a good day. Then how you want to divide it, it's up to you.
So then now the last, because you've given so much good advice, I'm going to ask you a different question than what I initially planned. I want to ask you, what do you think, how do you think all of us who are already in the system, and all of the students who are coming in, and other allied professions who are, everyone who form part of this entire ecosystem, how do you think we can, there are a lot of changes that we can bring in to our system. It's already very stressed right now. What do you think we can all do to make a positive change in the system as a whole? Like for me, this doing the Daily Lawyer platform is my contribution, doing your pro bono work is like your contribution. What do you think each of us can do in a generic way that to actually make a difference in the system?
I'll say, firstly, stop having gender sympathy. Oh, we are women, we are like bad this way. Don't have the gender sympathy at all. Okay. Yeah. Also, don't have overconfidence about what you do. Uplift your people, uplift your junior. Don't say usko aage upar nahi aane dena hai. Upar aa gaya to mere se aage chala jayega. Don't do that. It's very petty. Let us all grow together. Let us all benefit together. Because I have, in my own experience, lost a very good clerk. I groomed him. I made him study law. Then I told him, you're not fit to be a clerk with me. You're fit to be a lawyer out. So I feel it's a pleasure if you uplift somebody by not letting the person know I'm uplifting you, by not giving him tana tanis. You see, I'm doing this much for you. Just do it. Whether they know it or they don't know it, you do it. Because that's how the system will become stronger. If you pull down somebody, you're putting negativity in the system. So that's how it's up to you, how positively you want to build the system, and then blame the finger at others. Look, they are doing this to you or they are doing that. Are you doing something good for anybody? Show that first.
Yeah, that's true. Dhruti, it's been a real pleasure speaking to you. I'm so glad we took this time out. I'm so glad you gave me this time. And we could.
It's my pleasure, Jenna. It's your thing, and you're doing such a fantastic thing. My little contribution of 0.00001% is making me feel elated. Yeah.
But this is like the compounding effect, right? Like everybody puts in their hand, and then it becomes something of value. So, but this has truly been a very valuable conversation. I can already think of so many ways that we can use all the things that you've said today. So thank you so much. And we're going to have more such conversations because you have a lot to give. And I'm going to get you back on this podcast to speak about.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure. I congratulate you for this. Please make it like the sky is the limit kind of a conversation. Get us all learning on your podcast, because we love to learn from you. The way you are having your auditory skills, I appreciate.
Thank
You're
you.
a very good orator. I always thought Jenna was a shy girl, always busy in her work. But you're such a good, bold orator. Yeah, this is what I got to know today.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Dhruti. But
It's my pleasure.
So glad, Dhruti. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yes, hello.
Take care.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.
Bye.